In addition, I remember you were very unhappy because you felt that this is Igbo son to at least have some seat on the table. Because you were very vocal when you are not happy about things. But later you were appointed as spokesperson, and it looks like you were also happy. So help us balance all of this.
Coming to your own question as to myself, let me correct something that you said. I said I would have favorably been disposed by the choice to have come from southeast, not south-south, because southeast has not produced the president or vice from 1999. The name Amaechi is Igbo, so I couldn't have been saying Igbo because his name is also Igbo, and culturally is from an ethnic nationality that even the president of Ohanese comes from his own nationality in Nigeria of today. So it has nothing to do with Igbo or not Igbo. I was talking about geopolitical balancing. But you know, we had some peculiarities before the election where people indicated their interest to contest for the presidency. And the person that represented the southeast in that calculation left unceremoniously before the conclusion of the process. That was why the Excellency Atiku Abubakar still went to the nearest person that is closest to the southeast. In other words, for you to know that he has nothing against the Igbo people. And then, when that choice was made, efforts were also made to explain out the reasons why such a choice would be made. And when I was convinced from all the available data and information, it was a nice thing. The spokesperson, I was willing to give up for the interest of Igbo. But when everything was now stated very well, and the interest of Igbo and Southeast was now recognized and guaranteed, then it was a go-go for me. And we are now one big and happy family. ADC is going to form the next government of Nigeria, and Atiku Abubakar will be the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by the grace of God.
Mr. Okonkwo, it's amazing how you've laid your arguments. If that happens, it means that we'll have a northerner become president for perhaps the next 8 years, because in this part of the world, when you become president or governor, you want to do 2 terms. So I'm wondering the conviction that you have to support such a candidacy, especially because you are an Igbo man. So I'm wondering where that conviction is coming from. 2, the party, ABGA, I know you're not a member of ABGA, but ABGA has also adopted President Bola Tinubu as its official candidate as well to support the presidency of President Bola Tinubu, the candidacy of President Bola Tinubu. So in my head, and if you do that calculation, it looks like in the next 8 years to 12 years, we will not have any Igbo man become president if that happens. So does it also paint a picture of how those in the southeast are willing to play the politicking of Nigeria? Does it also paint the picture of perhaps maybe the southeast does not understand how the politicking works? Because one would have thought, and there are those who even think that you perhaps should have followed your heart and follow perhaps Mr. Peter Obi to the embassy.
In 2027, you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. In 2027, Tinubu is now an incumbent. He was not an incumbent in 2022, 2023. And he was able to grab the power, to snatch it, to run away with it. And now he is the commander-in-chief. And I am telling you that no politician that has any sense of reason will think that you will go alone to confront an incumbent that has the power of the state, who have said it clearly, that I will snatch power, I will grab it, I will run away with it. So I said that all the political leaders, all the political parties, all the opposition leaders should come together in a coalition. And when they come together in a coalition, they should submit themselves to the primary. because the opposition does not have the luxury of giving free ticket or choosing anybody. You have to choose somebody that every sector of Nigeria accepts. And I said, when they come together, they will go into primary. Whoever wins, I will support. And the opposition leaders, everybody, including Peter Obi, including Kwakwanso, including Atiku Abubakar, including Rotimi Amaechi, all of them, they came together and made a choice of ADC. So ADC, as 2027 is concerned, is not a party for the North, for the South, for the East or West. It is the party for Nigeria and Nigerians that the whole opposition leaders came together to adopt. And that party chose Atiku Abubakar. And that was a very strategic choice, because recall that when Yaradua died and Goodluck Jonathan came in 2011, the North were not allowed to do their 8 years, because they say a supervening factor that has happened, which made Jonathan to become president. 2011 was to be for the Northerners to do their 8 years. It was truncated. So rotation is between North and South, 4-year term of a president. The president does not have 8 years term. Now, the second term for an incumbent president is a referendum on his performance. It is obvious that Tinubu has failed and wants to drag Nigeria into destruction. So we are talking about survival now. We're not talking about zoning, since rotation has been achieved. And no one zone, no one geopolitical zone, no one section of the country can defeat an incumbent without the support of everybody. So ADC provided that option, and ADC went into primary and produced Atiku Abubakar. And I made it clear before that time that whoever the opposition brings, I will support. And thank goodness it has pleased His Excellency Atiku Abubakar to make me his spokesperson. So I am the spokesperson for the opposition coalition, opposition leaders, opposition parties. And that is why I am telling Nigerians that Atiku Abubakar is the man that has played on the national scene, that has built bridges across the 6 geopolitical zones, and he will bring to bear his intelligence, his experience in economy, in security, in all the aspects of Nigerian life, which he did as a vice president, which he did with Obasanjo. And we had the best economy and best security then. And this is the only man that has had that national experience amongst the people that want to contest. All the other people had just become governors in their own tiny space.
So
and
some would say that
what Tinubu is doing.
In your commentary,
just choosing people from Lagos and all those things. Rotimi Amaechi has been the speaker of the
if I may come in there, if you can hear me, Mr. Okonkwo, pardon me if I may come in there. I'm not quite sure that you're taking your commentary in the direction of the question of my colleague Kelly, and some would say you're only just doing your job as a spokesman of Mr. Atiku, by selling his candidacy. You said earlier that
do you remember?
Hold on, pardon me. Yeah, he was talking about Igbo. His question was in the direction of the Igbo the need for an Igbo presidency, which I'm about to follow up on. Pardon me. Hold on, Mr.
Okonkwo. Igbo. Amaechi is already Igbo, and he is going to be the vice president in 2027.
Some would argue against that, and you did a layout that Mr. Amaechi is from the south, not from the southeast. But some would say that
I want him to correct it. That's why I want him to correct his question.
Hold on, Mr.
Okonkwo is not Igbo.
Mr. Okonkwo, let's now do a narrowing further on the need for the Igbo presidency. Despite your argument, one cannot ignore the fact that the Southeast is fractured. My colleague mentioned earlier, APGA endorsing the president for 2027. And besides that, all the other Southeastern states are now APC. And you going against the NDC presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, in what many consider a very surprising turn of events, further fractures the Southeast and makes it ominous for the Southeast to ever achieve that age-long aspiration to taste power in the political trajectory of Nigeria. And some would ask why your how do I put it now? Why your consistent opposition to Mr. Peter Obi?
Well, first and foremost, you have brought too many things together. Yes, Peter Obi is the one who is now working against Igbo presidency and vice presidency because he came to ADC on his own. And he said he was going to contest under ADC. And he left about just 1 week to the close of time. So you cannot say, I am the one working towards Igbo presidency. And because of the fact that I could not see even that was why I said I am not going to even campaign until I am sure of that path to Igbo presidency. But I would prefer us to be using Southeast rather than Igbo. Because you have Igbo in South-South, you have Igbo in the North, and you have the Igbo predominantly in the Southeast. And as I keep saying, I'm talking about geopolitical balancing. So let us make that point. Because Amaechi, for instance, is Igbo. And he's already the vice presidential candidate. And that is why I'm saying that is what makes me to even become more favorably disposed that ADC is the shortest path to Igbo presidency. Now that we are in this situation, where Tinubu has done 4 years, let me tell you, if you bring another person from the South, the North will be very reluctant to vote for the person. As one interviewer said, he said because the North will believe that that person will do 8 years, meaning the power will stay 12 years in the South. So anytime you want to make a disruptive change, you must have to use somebody from the other sector and get an agreement with the person to do 4 years so that it will not be shared for 4 years. But the most important thing is that Nigerians are talking about survival now, not zoning. Tinubu has brought us to our knees that we are trying to survive as a nation.
Mr. Okonkwo, we must answer at this point. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo is an ADC chieftain, legal practitioner, and of course spokesperson for Mr. Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the ADC. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
See his face. I wish I could let you know how interesting and enchanting you used to be. It's quite a tragic loss of a very intelligent and talented young man like this. That used to be very, very interesting. My condolence anyway, my sincere condolence to whomever it may concern. Now let's move forward. Does Rotimi Amaechi himself accept he is Igbo? Let's find out.
Finally, which ethnic group do you belong to?
I'm an Ikwerre.
What does that mean? I mean, there are people who say that if you talk to some Ikwerre people, they'll say they are Igbo. If you talk to others, like some they'll say they are not. And at different times you have said you're Igbo.
Don't bring that controversy. Don't bring that controversy. I don't know why you want to go into that controversy.
Well, because it's interesting.
It's not
what your position is.
No, it's not. Why is it not? Okay. You're first and foremost an Ikwerre man before you can be an Igbo man. So if you ask an Ikwerre man, who are you? You say, I'm an Ikwerre man. So what you can say is an Ikwerre man and an Igbo man. There are those who have divergent views. Majorities will say no. In all honesty, majority will say no. There is a very tiny minority which includes me. And why do I take that position? It's political. And when I say political, it's not to win the votes of the Igbos. I didn't like the way the Igbos were being treated at a particular point in time. In protest against that treatment against the Igbos, I began to wear, what's it called? The tiger head.
Traditional
Clothes with the red cap. In protest, asking Nigeria to address their problem. Again, I made it public that I'm an Igbo man. In protest. It doesn't
not in fact.
It doesn't make me, whether I'm an Igbo man or not, is immaterial at this point in time.
It's immaterial at this point in time. You heard him very well, clean and clear. It's political, but you're not doing it to solicit vote from the Igbo. Can you listen to him? Anyway, Kenneth Okonkwo he said something. He said the present Ohaneze President General is from Ikwerre, River State. Very true, 100% correct. But let me make Rotimi Amaechi also understand that it is Ohaneze Ndi Igbo, not Ohaneze Ndi Ikwerre, because he's telling us right now that you first of all have to be an Ikwerre man before you be an Igbo man. You have to first of all be a tribe of less than 5 million people before you become a tribe of more than 50 million people. That's a tribe of 5 million people gave birth to 50 million people. That's quite funny anyway. But let's get into the crux of the matter. He said he chose to be Igbo. He became Igbo, or he is Igbo, in protest to the plight of the Igbos, the way they were being marginalized. I laugh in Chinese. Because this man seated here called Rotimi Chibuike Amaechi, he was among the highest decision-making body of the country for 8 years. I'm talking about FEC, Federal Executive Council. In the same government he claimed marginalized the Igbo the most. He was among that government for 8 years. What did he do? He went around the world borrowing money, loans upon loans, to build railway across the entire country without building one single one in the southeast that he claims he is protesting for. With his shagu and red cap. Then the lions on the shagu will be protesting, moving around and crying. And the same loan he took to build those railways, the people of the southeast are among those repaying back the loan. Who is marginalizing the Igbo the most? You have to be guarded. Now, if you never subscribe, try subscribe, because more interesting shows they still pop up. Thanks for watching.